Chapter 3. Tom thrust out the end of a stick. "Grab this, Jamie," he shouted. Jamie threw out his arm and caught hold as one foot went over the edge. He wobbled and then steadied himself. "Thanks, that was close." Jamie stepped back from the cliff's edge and gazed at the landscape in front of him. A canopy of gray mist hung over a forest of brilliant emerald green. The humid air throbbed with the whirring and buzzing of insects. "Where is this?" he gasped. Among the trees, Jamie saw a beautiful blue lagoon, and beyond that was an expanse of water. "Is that Dinosaur Cove?" "No way," said Tom, looking through his binoculars. "That's an ocean." "Ark, ark, ark, ark." The sudden noise came out of the sky behind them, and Jamie turned to see a scarlet-headed bird the size of a small airplane swooping toward them. "Watch out!" he yelled to Tom. They ducked as silver-gray leather wings swept right over their heads. Tom followed the bird with his binoculars. "It's flying over the jungle. It's settling on a tree by the lagoon," he told Jamie. "Take a look. It's huge." He thrust the binoculars at Jamie. Jamie looked toward the lagoon and his jaw dropped. He couldn't believe his eyes. "What can you see?" Tom asked. "I can see," Jamie spoke carefully, "2 rhinos, but instead of one big horn, they have 3, which means," he whispered, "that they're not rhinos. They're triceratops." "What?" Tom said. "Let me see." Jamie passed the binoculars back. "You're right," Tom said, "and that huge bird isn't a bird at all. It's a pterodactyl." The boys looked at each other in amazement. "Dinosaurs!" they yelled together, punching the air. "But how?" Tom stuttered. "I don't know," yelled Jamie, "but we've got to get closer." "Over there," said Tom. "There's a slope down to the jungle." The boys scrambled and skidded down the hill, and soon their feet sank into spongy jungle floor. Great pine trees towered above them, and huge ferns brushed damply against their legs as they passed. An enormous frill of purple and yellow spotted fungus caught Jamie's eye. It sprouted from a rotten tree stump. "This is unreal," Jamie said. But then on the far side of the fungus, the ferns began to rustle. "Gronk." "Did you hear that?" Jamie whispered. "What?" Tom stood still. The ferns swished. "Gronk." "That," Jamie hissed. "There's something there." Jamie and Tom ducked behind the tree stump and then slowly peeked out from behind the fungus. The noises were coming from a plump, scaly creature with a flat, bony head and splotchy green-brown markings. It was standing on 2 strong legs, peering hopefully into a tree. "It's a little dinosaur," Jamie whispered. As they watched, the little dinosaur grabbed hold of the pine tree with its claws, steadying itself by digging its long tail into the ground. Then it shook the tree as hard as its short arms would allow. The little dinosaur's tail twitched and it grunted softly to itself. "He's thinking," Tom murmured. "He's cool," Jamie breathed. The dinosaur took a few steps back. He lowered his bony head and charged straight at the tree. Thwack! The flat top of the dinosaur's head hit the trunk and the pine tree shook. "He's strong," said Tom. "Do you think he's dangerous?" Jamie asked. "I'll look him up." Tom pulled the fossil finder out of Jamie's backpack and tapped the keywords. "Flat skull, head butt, Tyrannosaurus," Tom read from a screen. "A herbivore?" "That means plant eater," added Jamie. "Uses its hard skull to defend itself against predators," Tom continued. As Tom slipped the fossil finder back into Jamie's bag, the little dinosaur took another run and rammed the tree again. "He thinks the tree's a predator?" Tom stood up laughing. At the sound of Tom's laughter, the little dinosaur cocked its head to one side. He turned and blinked mournfully at Tom. "You've hurt his feelings," Jamie said, standing up beside Tom. "Sorry, Juana." Tom apologized to the little dinosaur. The Wanosaurus blinked at Tom and then Jamie. He took 3 big steps away from the tree, shifted his weight from foot to foot. "He's revving up," said Jamie. "Go, Wana, go!" the boys shouted. The Wanosaurus put his head down and hurtled toward the tree. Thwack! The tree wobbled. Plunk! A single pine cone dropped to the ground. The dinosaur stuffed it into his mouth, looked happily at the boys, then wagged his tail and scurried off on his hind legs. "Let's track him," said Tom. Just a minute. Jamie carved a W into the tree stump with his fossil hammer, so we remember where we met Juana. "Now, which way did he go?" asked Jamie as they clambered over the tree. Tom looked around at the trampled plants. "He disturbs the ferns as he walks on them," Tom said. "We can follow his trail." The little dinosaur's trail led to a small clearing, where the boys found him standing on his hind legs, munching a leaf. He turned towards them and lowered his flat, bony head. "Uh-oh," said Tom. "He might charge us." "It's okay, Juana. We're not predators." Jamie put his backpack on the ground and took out his bag of stinky ginkgo fruit. He rolled one towards the Juanosaurus. The dinosaur sniffed at the fruit suspiciously. "He can't possibly want to eat that," said Tom, holding his nose. Juana looked down his snout at Tom. Then he pinned the fruit between his claws and sank his teeth into it. He made a grunking noises as stinky ginkgo juice dribbled down his chin. "Yum, yum," Jamie grimaced as the dinosaur's long tongue slurped up every disgusting drop. Juana looked at Jamie, then he looked at Jamie's backpack and wagged his tail. Suddenly, the little dinosaur froze. The jungle went still. Even the insects stopped buzzing. The ground trembled beneath their feet. "Something's coming," whispered Jamie. "Something big." Chapter 4. Thump! The ground shook. Juana dashed behind the leafy tree. Thump! A stronger tremor shook the ground. Juana peeped out from behind a branch and bobbed its head up and down. In the distance, wood was snapping and crackling. The tremors were getting stronger. What is it? Is it coming our way?" Jamie said. "Fast!" added Tommy. The boys looked at each other. "We've got to get out of here," Jamie yelled. "Which way?" Suddenly, Jamie's bag was yanked off his back. Jamie spun around and saw Juana charging off into the jungle, clutching it in his mouth. "Juana!" Jamie sprinted after him, Tom close behind. The little dinosaur skidded to a halt by a shallow stream. He turned and looked at Jamie in the eyes. Then he jerked his head toward the stream and plunged in. The ground shook again. "Juana's leading us to safety," Jamie shouted, jumping into the stream after him. "Clever," Tom panted. "The water will mask our scent." Juana led them up the stream to where it trickled through a jumble of huge rounded rocks. He glanced back and leaped out of the water. Jamie and Tom followed, stumbling and splashing. They scrambled onto the rocks and stood, dripping. "Where's he gone?" Jamie asked. Roar. Something crashed through the trees behind them. Jamie whirled around and lost his footing on the wet stones. Tom threw out his hand, but when Jamie grabbed it, both boys toppled and slid down between the two rocks. Jamie landed with a thud and found himself staring into the reptilian face. Grunk! Juana greeted Jamie and Tom with slobbery licks, and Jamie was happy to see his backpack again. "Are we safe?" Jamie whispered. "Is that thing chasing us gone?" The boys listened. "I think so," Tom breathed. Thud! The rock shook. "It's here," Tom whispered. Jamie peered up through the gap above his head. Instead of the trees of the jungle, he saw a dark, slimy hole. Suddenly, a blast of slime flew through the hole and splattered Jamie's face. "Ah!" Jamie wiped his face. "I think that's his nose." The creature lifted his head and roared. Roar! The sound rumbled around the rocks. Jamie could see its jaws. Slithers of rotting flesh dangled from its fangs. "Ugh, bad breath," Jamie gagged. "Worse than stinking ginkgo fruit." "It doesn't look friendly," Tom said. "Whoa, what is it?" An enormous yellow eye, rimmed with bright red scales, studied Jamie through the gap in the rocks. "Don't need the fossil finder," Jamie stammered. "It's a T-Rex."